Hello and welcome, everybody. I am Penn Street, your host of the podcast Aftersight. Today's guest is Melissa Simpson, and Melissa is coming to us from the high mountains of Colorado, and it's very cold and snowy up there right now in the winter months. And Melissa is featured in the beautiful, amazing short film that is winning tons of awards and has received tons of accolades called From My Window. Melissa was born with cerebral palsy, and I had the pleasure of being on the hike that Melissa was on, and that's featured in this amazing documentary. And Melissa and I have been friends for several years now, and we met through an incredible program called No Barriers. And Melissa, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Penn, for having me today.
Absolutely. Well, Melissa, tell us a little bit about how in the world did you end up in a documentary climbing a mountain?
Well, I had a No Barriers pledge in 2020 that I was going to climb a mountain, but I didn't know how I was going to do it because the world was pretty much shut down because of COVID, the virus. So Eric, Weinmeyer, and myself decided at dinner one night, hey, let's get a rope team together and do a small hike up this beautiful trail, Columbine, outside of Leadville in Chaffee County. So we got a small team together, and Penn was on that team, and we were pretty good. And
how did you decide that mountain? How did you decide that mountain, Melissa, which is now called Mount Melissa to all of us who are on the team?
Yeah, awesome. I love that name, Mount Melissa. It was up to one of my rope team members that made that decision to pick out the perfect spot to climb.
Okay.
It was a rugged jeep trail that he thought that the Freedom Chair would go up.
Yeah.
Easier in the Grit Freedom Chair.
Yeah, and the Grit Freedom Chair, for those who don't know, is would you call it like an off-road wheelchair?
So the Grit Freedom Chair is an all-terrain wheelchair, basically, and it has drivetrain handles that come up, and I could push the levers to make it go.
So that you pumped with your arms instead of like rolling the wheels like you would in a traditional wheelchair.
Yes.
Yeah, they're pretty amazing.
And it is made to move off the pavement. So on that mountain, I had pushers and pullers, and I pumped it, I don't know how many times, but I pumped
thousands
so hard. Yeah. And with the help of my rope team, pulling and pushing, it wasn't all me that did it. The rope team helped a lot.
Yeah, and on the rope team, every one of us was either, a veteran from one of the wars that we've been in. There was other blind people like myself. There was people with PTSD. We all had barriers. And so it really was this amazing experience for all of us. And especially, I think it was even more poignant because of COVID. We had all been isolated, or we had lost our jobs, or, we had family that we'd lost because of COVID. So we were all of us were coming from this place of loss. And your hike, Melissa, brought us all together. And you've talked about, there was laughter and tears and sweat and blood and snot and you name it on that hike. So it really was an amazing time. So Melissa, you've shared before with me why that hike was so important to you.
The hike was important to all, not necessarily me, but I feel like all of us, because it was the best day of our 2020 year. When COVID first hit, we're like, what's going on? We don't know. So I brought together the team, and it was to get out in the wilderness. Felt like all felt great for all of us, and it was like we finally did something successful, even though the world was going crazy. We didn't know what this virus was doing when it was hitting. So I myself was psychologically beat down because of this virus. So because of that, I felt like the hike itself was the best day I had in 2020. Because it got me outside. It got me away from everything else that was going on. So I felt happy about that.
Yeah. And the name of the movie, Melissa, From My Window, can you tell us where that name came from?
Well, From My Window originated because I've been all of my life, I was sitting inside of my house, looking out the window, going, man, I wish I can be out in the outdoors. How am I gonna get outdoors? So the name is very fitting because now with my Grit Freedom Chair, I can get outside in the mountains. So from my window I could see the tallest peaks in Colorado.
Yeah.
And now I can climb those.
That's right.
Without no hesitation of how you just need the right equipment and the right rope team to get you to the highest, to where you want to go.
Absolutely. I use rope team in my life so much, like how we all need each other. And that term is a mountaineering term that came from, when you're climbing a mountain, you all need to be roped together in case one of you falls, the rest of you can be there to support. And if somebody, feels weak or gets tired, it's okay because you're all roped together and you have each other's back. So I love that. And I know, Melissa, you have expectations that you're going to be so the mountain we climbed was a little over 13,000 feet. And you have aspirations to do a 14er, which is super, like climbing a 14er in Colorado is like, everybody talks about it. They say, I bagged a 14er this weekend. It's this machismo thing. And so that's even going to take a different type of wheelchair. Can you share with us what that is?
So where I live, I'm surrounded by 14,000-foot mountains, all over, all over, all the time, all around my house.
Yeah.
So my goal is I'm going to get with another organization. Hopefully, I'm crossing my fingers, hopefully soon. And we are going to go, I'm going to use a trail runner, which is different than the freedom chair. It is one, you have one wheel on under your seat, basically.
Yeah.
And you rely on people pushing and people carrying your stuff up for you. And you basically camp for three days. So it's gonna be at base camp 1, base camp 2,
That's wonderful. You better count me in
for 3 days.
as one of the rope team.
In the trail runner.
That's wonderful.
I will, once I get everything set in stone. You're on the top of the list.
Oh, good.
I don't forget about you.
I will.
Penn.
I'm so glad, Melissa. It's been such a treat getting to know you more and more, and you just keep shining brighter and brighter. So many people have talked about you as the light, that fills the room, and you really, really do. And Melissa, one of the things that we've had a couple of conversations about this.
Awesome.
Yeah, about how you didn't always feel like a light for people. Do you want to share a little bit about that?
So, I didn't always have the best time growing up. I was pretty much shoved to the sidelines in high school. In high school particularly, I got bullied by several other people, and believe it or not, one of them was my special ed teacher at the time.
Oh, Melissa.
And she told me I would never get anywhere. And I began to manifest that in my brain, like I'm not gonna get anywhere. I just live this life. I'm just here doing what I'm doing, and I'm never gonna get anywhere. Well, and then I had a couple classmates also that were also bullying me, telling me, "Oh, you're nothing but in a wheelchair. It's," and then they would make fun of the way I move or talk and once I got into college, all that was gone, and I then at my college graduation is when things started. I turned around for me.
Yeah, and meeting Eric Weimer was sort of that catalyst, and that made and the same thing happened to me. It wasn't my college graduation, but the minute I met Eric Weimer, my life got back on track, and which is such a beautiful thing about him and what he does for the world is he really does show you that it's okay to be you, and it's okay to be your best self.
Yeah.
And that,
he does. He really does.
Yeah.
So I want to look back at those high school days and tell that special ed teacher, look at me now.
Yes.
And I just
have you run into her or anything? Have you run into her since the film?
I think she moved and stuff.
Well,
But
this film is international, Melissa. This is an international film, so I would be very surprised if she hasn't seen it. But that must feel pretty good, thinking about those bullies who were trying to hold you down, and quite the reverse happened. You're standing on, above 13,000 feet, and you fought every inch of the way up
and then
there.
I say blood, sweat, and tears, and it was, and there's a part in the film where I say, 10 years ago, I felt bullied. I felt pushed to the sidelines. But when I found the No Barriers organization, thanks to Eric and the speech he gave, I don't feel, when I'm around No Barriers, and I don't feel pushed to the
Yeah. Well, I have a feeling
feel
that
any of that. In 2019, when I first went to a No Barriers Summit, I never felt more free in my life.
Oh.
Free from my disability in my life.
Yeah, that's what I used to preach that about the summit, when people would talk to me about what does the No Barriers Summits mean, and I said it's where disabilities disappear. Because
that's totally right.
Yeah. Yeah. So Melissa, you are such an inspiration to all of us, and your sense of humor is so amazing. I always spend the time laughing with you. We met, was it last summer or last summer in Buena Vista, and we did a little video together that sort of represented our friendship. And that was just really sweet.
That was fun.
Maybe we'll put a link to that on the what did we say? The Thelma and Louise of disabilities.
Yes. The Thelma and Louise of disabilities.
Yeah.
That was funny.
Yeah. Melissa, because you are now that, you're traveling a little bit with the film. I know last weekend you were in Estes Park at an event with the film. You've been to Aspen with the film. You're going to be at the Boulder International Film Festival. Do you get people that come up to you and share with you how the film has changed them?
Yes, I do. I get a lot of, you have inspired me to overcome my own barriers.
Oh.
I didn't realize I had barriers in my life until I saw your film, and that making me rethink of how I can I'm realizing my own barriers, and that's where they think that they're inspired by me because they see me overcoming my own barriers, and they want to now overcome their barriers because of my story. That's an incredible feeling to feel that way. I was telling my mom this morning how once they filmed my story, I never thought I'd be sitting here today going over this story, over this film again and again and again, and it's so incredible to feel that what's inside me is I'm so incredibly grateful that I could share my story around the world with people.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, when I think a lot of people, who listen to this, Melissa, even if they don't have a disability, maybe they don't have anything that's super apparent, that there's a barrier, kind of like you said, people realize it. But I think everybody can relate to at some point in their life. And maybe right now they feel like they're sitting on the sidelines, or maybe they're being pushed to the sidelines, which is what you how you put it. And what advice do you have for them, Melissa?
Just don't let that get you. I know it's very, very hard in the moment to let that get you down, but you have to find a way out of the darkness. And one of our elements at No Barriers is reach outside of that comfort zone, and don't let anybody tell you you can't, because you can't. Because you can find a way. And what I always like to say, our motto, with No Barriers, the No Barriers motto: what's within you is stronger than what's in your way. And that is actually reflected in the film. As I say, I wake up every single morning living the motto: what's within you is stronger than what's in your way. And I truly believe that that people can do what they want to do. Do not let them stereotype you.
Yeah.
Do not let, it's very hard, because I sit and I'm like, I get stereotyped a lot because I'm in a wheelchair. Well, No Barriers got me out of that. Stereotypical. I'm in a wheelchair, I have cerebral palsy, So that's my advice.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful, Melissa. And it is true, but it takes films like you have been part of. I know you also do a lot of speaking events, but it takes somebody to share that with them, just like, Eric showing up and doing your commencement speech when you graduated college. That was like the trigger that triggered you. And I have a feeling that this film, From My Window, is that trigger for so many people out there, regardless if they're there in the audience and they come up to you. But I really feel in my heart that it really did change a lot of people's lives, because it sure changed my life being on that rope team. And it really did. It really, really did.
I want to point out something that the film portrays, that the film shows. So mountaineering, a lot of people celebrate the summits of the mountain, but there's what the film shows, which I dearly, dearly like, is the struggles, not just we made it to the summit, and that's it. They showed me having a coughing fit. They showed me exhausted and everything you can imagine that comes along with mountaineering. They showed a little bit of that. So I'm really happy about that, because mountaineering is not only about summits, it's the struggles that come along with it. So.
Absolutely. It's, that saying, it's, it's not the destination, it's the journey along the way. But the one thing I noticed, Melissa, that the film did not show was me carrying the toilet up the mountain. How did that get cut? I just don't understand that.
I don't know, But that was fun. That was the fun part. I think it was strapped on. I think it was strapped onto the back of my freedom chair at one point.
Yeah, that toilet, if it could talk, it would have its own film.
Yep, that's funny.
Well, Melissa, thank you so much. Not just for, agreeing to be on this podcast today, but for being so brave and doing this amazing hike in your freedom chair and sharing it and being vulnerable and being open to the struggle, because we couldn't enjoy that summit if we didn't know how much went into the journey along the way. So thank you, sweetie.
You're welcome. And the journey is not over, guys.
That's right.
There's more to come.
There is more to come.
Stay tuned.
All right. Well, Melissa, thank you again. And we will definitely have you back on as soon as you know more details about this next adventure. And
you're so welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Melissa. And thank you all for listening out there. It's been so fun seeing your comments come in and seeing where you're all from. You're from around all over the world, and it's such a beautiful thing. And please send in your stories, or if you know somebody who would like to be on the podcast, or if you want to be on the podcast, please reach out to me. So be kind to yourself and try to find a way to touch somebody's life today in a positive way.